Physical copies of video games. That is something that has been really fading away recently in popularity for very obvious reasons. It is getting replaced by digital games. I have always been a huge proponent of digital games. I think they're more convenient. I think they're just better. But I do get it. I totally respect anybody that wants to just go with physical copies. You can definitely make a fair argument for physical games. I mean, you could talk all day about the nostalgia factor or just the preference factor. I want to be able to, hold a game in my hand. But it also is very relevant when we've been talking a lot recently in the gaming sphere about game preservation. So when you have physical games, generally speaking, I mean, hey, it is what it is. If you got that physical game, there's no taking it away. You can't just uninstall it from a system or anything like that. If you have it, you have it. That's the basic gist of physical copies of games. But like I said, due to the convenience of digital games, it's just fading away in popularity. As we've seen the fall of big stores like GameStop, we have seen gaming companies like Microsoft, Sony, they've all been embracing this digital-only market. They have been tweaking their platforms, their stores, their marketplaces to just basically have everything digital. I mean, after all, they're totally fine with it because, hey, it cuts out the middleman, so to speak, and it makes games way more accessible. I'm way more likely to buy a game probably if it's just right there and it's just a few clicks of a button away versus having to drive 20 minutes into town to, GameStop to get it. So yeah, digital is kind of a win-win. It really works out a lot for these big gaming companies. But Nintendo, while they have also embraced digital games, they are not giving up on physical copies of games. They have actually embraced the desire that they know some of their fans have to have physical copies of games. The Nintendo president, Shuntaro Furukawa, just came out and talked a lot about this and basically said that the company is going to continue embracing having physical copies of their games. And he basically acknowledged that there is a very large diversity of opinion amongst Nintendo fans when it comes to preferences of physical copies of games versus digital, and that they don't want to snub the group that is pro physical copies. So they're going to keep pumping out physical copies of these Nintendo games until further notice, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily going to always be this way, but for right now, they are embracing this. One thing I am wondering, though, is that with the shutting down of big stores like GameStop, I'm kind of wondering how exactly they will platform these physical copies of games, selling them, if all of these retailers around the world are just shutting down. My guess is that maybe they'll go still with an online approach, but rather than digitally buying these games online, you just buy them online, I don't know, on like the Nintendo online shop, and then it just gets sent to you in the mail. Yeah, I know nostalgia is a big thing, don't get me wrong, I miss the days of going to GameStop, but I think even that is something that Nintendo just can't replace anymore. I know there's some retailers here and there, don't get me wrong, I know that everybody watching this probably has at least one, like, small video game store in their town, but overall you just don't see a lot of these stores popping up like they used to. So that is why I am kind of surprised to see that they really are wanting to embrace this whole physical copy strategy, but like I said, I think they will just divert to more of online sales versus in-store sales. Nintendo, love them or hate them, they've got their moments where they definitely don't treat their fans the best. I'm thinking of, emulators recently, but they do also know what their fans like, and I know that a lot of Nintendo fans really do like physical copies of games. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they just didn't want to lose out at the end of the day on the money they could make from people that would just not buy digitally and would only buy physical. But I don't know, hey, as much of a proud member of the digital only team that I am, I have to say, I think it is kind of cool that there is a big video game company that we're seeing respect the preferences that a lot of gamers today do still have to buy their games physically.